So, Drive is not talking about the movie. It's actually a book called Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us by Daniel H. Pink. And I promised to talk about it last week. But first of all, we'll go a little bit back and talk about what I actually said last week as a kind of learning. Because I was just on the usual Twitter adventure. And I just saw someone talk about the kind of MMO design. Well, it was actually not MMO design. It was game design. They were talking about game design. And then someone linked a study about the over-justification effect. And I think a lot of people in the MMO space have heard about the over-justification effect before. I believe it was the Path of Exile developer talked about it at GDC, I think, or maybe it was a Diablo developer. I can't remember. But the over-justification effect is the idea that, if you provide a reward for an activity that people like, then they'll like it less because the reward kind of destroys the link in their head between the fun. They think they're doing it for the reward as opposed to doing it for the fun. And that's because of something called self-perception theory, which basically proposes that you justify your own behavior. So if you like doing something, but there's a reward for doing it, in your head, you're like, not like literally you personally thinking it, but in all of the subconscious processes going on in your head, you're actually drawing links between your activity, your behavior, and what's happening. So you've got that case of, oh, I'm doing this for a reward. And over time, with repeated use especially, but even from the first time, it's just, oh, I'm doing this for the reward. And then you don't like doing it as much. It sounds really insane, but it's this, it's a psychological concept that the self-perception theory has been kind of, not debunked per se, it's been argued against, but that's kind of that's the one thing. Just takes one thing. But then you've got, so that study actually on the self-perception theory and over-justification went into a study, of course, an experiment. So they got children that were interested in drawing, which they considered a fun activity. They considered it, interestingly enough. And then they said, right, we'll get these kids in. They love drawing. We'll give them an experiment. One group would not get an award. It would just be, sit in a room, draw for a bit for us, please. Okay. Will they continue drawing afterwards? The answer was largely yes. In another group, they got an unexpected award. So they finished drawing, and then someone came in and said, oh, shit, you've been great at drawing. Great job. Here's an award. They also continued to draw afterwards in their free time. But then there was another group, and this group was given we're told ahead of time, if you draw for us, we'll give you a big award. We'll give you I think it was called the Good Player Award. We'll put your name on the leaderboard. Let's go draw. And they drew. And as soon as they got the reward, they still drew to an extent, but they basically stopped. Substantially less drawing going on than the groups who weren't rewarded. So that's kind of the background for the thing that sparked this off and something I was talking about last week.
Yeah.
The whole self-perception theory, etc., etc., etc. So then I was like, well, let's keep going. Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us. And that's a book where, it was basically following up the same principles as someone called Daniel H. Pink, who I'm not actually sure of his entire credentials, but studied a lot of things in his time and was really interested in motivation and what motivates people. Especially, he spoke to a couple people on the topic and then pulled together a bunch of studies, pulled together a bunch of research, and wrote a little book on it. The Stop Drawing Kids, it sounds just like a job. Exactly. That's the problem. You're like, this is really fun. Wait, it's now a job. Why is this not fun anymore? I wonder if there could be any psychological reasons for that to occur. So that's kind of what Drive goes into. It's a book that's about motivation, and today I'll kind of keep it relatively light. I'll only go through his point on motivation 2.0. Mad Hatter, how do you hide rewards from gamers, especially when World of Warcraft Wohead data mines everything? Yes, that's a problem of MMO design in general, where the unexpected reward works, but it's hard to do that, and also it gets worse over time. But so I guess to go through Drive, obviously, I'll have to summarize because I can't fucking read a book. But
Yeah.
so the idea was that the first experiment that found out that sort of this idea was in 1949 when I believe it was Harry F. Harlow was like, right, okay, right, let's go. Monkeys. We will sit them in a cage, get ready to do an experiment with them, with these monkeys solving puzzles. Solving little, I think it was a little key turning things. We had to turn the key the right way, but there was like a mechanical blocker, so they had to figure out the right configuration. And they were like, right, the monkeys are in the cages. Let's get the wait, hang on. Did you tell the monkeys to go do the thing? No? Then why are they doing that? The monkeys are doing these puzzles completely unprompted. Hell, they're having fun at it, and they look really good at it too. What's going on? That's interesting. Okay. Will they do it again? The answer is yes. But at this point in time, psychological understanding is people do things for rewards. And it's like, I think we all understand that people are intrinsically motivated now.
Yeah.
Like largely we go, yeah, well, I do things that are fun. Don't be stupid. That's why I do things. But at the time, psychological understanding was, no, people do things for stuff. People go to work for money. Obviously, they go to work for more money. They go to different jobs for more money. They do things for stuff. So they're like, well, okay. We'll give these monkeys some raisins and see if they do better. Nope. They got worse. Those monkeys got worse. They cared less about the puzzles and just went, stop that, whatever, I don't give a shit. And they're like, what the? Obviously,
the idea of a monkey being like that's very funny, but yes.
Yeah, so they performed worse, and that was like, holy shit, this has blown our minds. Because at the time, there were two drives. There was the biological drive, and there was the external drive. The biological drive, eat when hungry, drink when thirsty, and do other biological things when the biological urge comes. And then there was the external drive, which is very much carrot and stick. That's the whole thing. That's what motivation was based on, carrot and stick. And then Harlow was like, third drive, intrinsic, let's go, I'll figure this out. And then he didn't, because he just basically couldn't be bothered because challenging the beliefs in the scientific community was hard. So he's like, well, I'm gonna go do something that'll get me, acclaim instead and study defection. But then another dude, Edward Deci, picked it up in 1969 and then repeated the puzzle. Repeated the experiment with humans, give them this the Soma puzzle cube things.
Yeah.
And just sort of went, okay, we'll give you some free time where you're being watched. I don't think they knew it was being watched, which I think might not fly today in science, but anyway. Anyway, they were in a room with solving these like Soma puzzle things, basically putting blocks in a way for a specific configuration, figuring out how it works. They had to solve 3 of them. Solved 2 of them. Then we're given some free time, and they had other things in the room. They had a copy of Time magazine, the New Yorker magazine, and Playboy magazine because it was 1969, and that was okay, as opposed to I think being considered somewhat unacceptable these days. I just wanted to measure would they continue doing it.
Yeah,
and both groups, which were one was the you'll get paid per solve, and the other group was do it for a laugh. Both groups did it for free. Both groups did it for free in the first day. Group A were paid in the second day, and then wouldn't be paid in the third day. Group B just free, whatever, all the whole time. Both groups same time, 3.5, 4 minutes out of it on day 1. Over time, Group B played it at the same time, got a little bit more engaged over time, but just like by a couple of seconds, so it's a bit of an anomaly. But then Group A, the second day when they got paid, they played for it. They played with the puzzle in the free time for over 5 minutes. A substantial improvement. Over 25% more engagement. Wouldn't that look great to Blizzard Entertainment developers?
Bing, wahoo, yeah.
Yeah, just numbers say, give people some money for playing the game and we'll run out of money. Shit, this isn't going to work. Fuck. Something else instead of money. Gold. Okay. That'll work. So, and then the third day is when it gets interesting. When they were said they wouldn't be paid, they down to 3 minutes. They were still interested, but they were just slightly less interested, just a little bit less interested than before. And that was in one instance. That was in just one initial instance. And that's sort of, Deci's like, done it. figured out humans, time to get on my lifelong quest. And then he got fired from a business school, got in loads of fights with all the other psychologists because no one liked him challenging scientific assumptions, especially when scientific assumptions were really, really deep with business.
Yeah.
Because at this point, all the business schools were like, no, people work money. Money, people work. Solved. Everything sorted. But then you move into the sort of modern era. And one of the things that was fun was the Drive uses this Wikipedia comparison where it brought up MSN Encarta. Do you remember that?
Nope.
I imagine very few of you remember MSN Encarta. I don't. But it was the equivalent of Wikipedia, except you paid a load of money for it.
Oh, lovely.
And they had a team of experts, well paid, a team of managers, well paid, to actually make it work. You know, they had this. Obviously, all the incentives are there for working on it. Back in the day, you go, well, obviously, you know, this one's run by a load of volunteers, completely unmanaged, completely untracked. That's going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
No one's heard of Encarta. Everyone in the planet uses Wikipedia. And that was just... Where does the motivation come from? Oh! Yeah, turns out people who work on Wikipedia do it because they they like to do it. Obviously, there's a lot of like little kind of things like, you know, I'm gonna make this thing wrong, or the case of, you know, I'm going to be engaged in this community. So there are some elements. It's not purely intrinsic, but it's still just between this and the free and open source community.
Yeah. In
general, there's a load of work that completely devoid of any external reward. It's just, oh, people are doing this for fun.
Just intrinsic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a study as well from, I think it was from, Lakhani and Wolf, 2003, surveyed 684 open source developers, and the strongest driver for all of them across the survey was enjoyment-based intrinsic motivation, particularly in the realms of feeling creative on a project. So some little drive of being creative is what drove these people more than anything else. And that's just, you know, Wikipedia kind of doesn't prove it per se, but there's a load of evidence towards it. And then Drive goes on and goes, okay, well, if our first operating system as humans was motivation 1.0, when we would go eat, fight, procreate, eat, drink, fight, procreate, good day, gonna go sleep. Like, great as that sounds, I know, compared to modern life, whenever, you know, we got a lot less individualistic and a little bit more, what if we work together? Because we've developed communication and fire and tools and shit. Then we went and developed Motivation 2.0, which is, I'll go and kill the animal and bring you the animal for the meat, and you can give me the berries, and then I can have some meat and berries and we'll be better for it. That kind of stuff of cooperation. And, you know, we're motivated globally now after thousands of millions of years for money, possessions, and social status, all that stuff. And then that evolves into us treating people scientifically.
Yeah.
Like inputs, outputs. Because I know you likely do this yourself, where you kind of ignore your own emotional state, your own irrationality, and go, well, I'm a machine, so, you know, I'll put water in, feel better. You know, stuff like that, where we're very scientific in the West. You can just, you know, basically you can just dangle the carrot or brandish the stick and people will do what you want. But that's not how it works. No one believes that anymore, basically. No one believes that anymore. And that's why you have things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Because I have it up here, and it is basically at the top, transcendence and self-actualization. Where does that fit into game design?
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, it doesn't. No one in design's going, okay, how do we motivate for what people really enjoy? They just kind of go, fucking, we're old school. We're rational calculators. Well, people will do what they're rewarded to do. People will do what they're punished not to do.
That's the thing with certain MMOs. Maybe fall foul of.
Yep, that's basically the overall problem with gamification is that it seems to fall back on this really ancient idea of, not even that really ancient as in has started being challenged in the past 40 years academically, but not really business-wise very much. Because it wasn't until like 1960 where someone went, boys, should we maybe treat humans a bit more like humans, given there's a little bit of evidence?
What
And
if
then
not
they-
literally everyone is a rational actor all of the time, like a fucking machine? What
Yeah.
if?
Yeah, it's like, people aren't machines. Okay, we'll loosen the dress code. We'll let people come in at 9:30 instead of 9 sometimes.
Oh, wow.
Just
Vaccine
in
time,
like
craft beer on tap, let's go.
fucking completely sorted, but it's a thing where work has become more heuristic and more creative, so then motivation 2.0 falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
Because that only works for, I don't want to do the laundry. Do the laundry and I won't hit you with a stick. Okay, I'll do the laundry. And that seems to work for people, largely speaking. A metaphorical stick, of course. Metaphorical stick. But then the version of that I thought was really enjoyable was a comparison to The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, where there's a bit in that book where Tom wants to paint a fence. Sorry, doesn't want to. Fuck, it's the opposite. He is told to paint the fence. And he's like, life to him seemed hollow, and existence but a burden. I'm sure we felt that when it comes to, logging into World of Warcraft to do Torghast. So
Yep.
yeah, so that's exactly the thing where, this is an activity that isn't really too bad, but it's work. So I don't want to do this. This is some bullshit. And then his friend comes by and Tom hatches a plan. Hey, my friend Ben, look at what I'm doing. This is really fun. I am having such great fun painting this fence. This is fantastic, incredible. And Ben goes, can I get in? See if it's fun? Tom's like, no, it's my fun. Get the fuck. And then Ben's like, but I really want to. Here, have this apple. It's a nice apple. I want to eat it, but I'll give it to you. And then maybe I'll be allowed to paint the fence. And through this, he gets his mates to paint the fence for him. And they're like, this is class. This is deadly. Having the time of my life painting this fence. And Tom's like, fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But it's that's why Drive calls it the Sawyer effect, which is the behavioral alchemy of obligation and reward turning play into work, which is the over justification effect. And I think World of Warcraft and other MMOs and a lot of games just really suffer with this massively all the time. It's just they fall foul of it because they don't understand it. And then the same kind of went for money. The same goes for speed. And there's like a TLDR at the end of the bit of the chapter, which is there are 7 deadly flaws to the carrot and stick thing. They can extinguish intrinsic motivation. There's like 6 other things that are really vile in terms of diminishing performance, crushing creativity, crowding out good behavior, encouraging cheating, shortcuts, and unethical behavior. We haven't released 2 videos about that recently, have we? There's addiction to reward, which can happen as well, and then there's short-term thinking. And that's the kind of problem with carrot and stick. But
This is so big because World of Warcraft
Yep.
is so carrot and stick.
Yep.
But basically, in World of Warcraft, it's like the carrot becomes the stick. The fact that
Yeah.
you didn't do Torghast is the stick,
Yep.
but then you're only doing Torghast for the carrot,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels like the carrot is overshining all the other reasons why you would actually be going there to do that.
Yeah.
A good example. They can crush creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure if you're a Mephisto or you're somebody who's really got into Torghast and you don't care about those other things, you'll be more creative within it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be trying to make the new builds. But for loads of people, they just want to trudge through it to get their thing done.
Yep.
I mean, this just totally applies to MMOs.
Yeah, it does. It does, which is, I didn't get as far through this, and obviously the segment's running on a little bit. I didn't get as far into the book as I wanted to this week, because there's a lot more about the positive side of things and how to actually engage with intrinsic stuff that will be happening in later weeks. I'm time getting content. But it's just this idea of, for the summary that the book actually has on the over justification effect. Sorry, I tell a lie. This isn't from the book. This is a quote from the meta-analytic review of experiments examining the effect of intrinsic rewards on intrinsic motivation. Because last week I talked about the one study.
Yes.
And I was like, well, it's one study.
Could be p-hacked, could be unreliable, and was only 18 for some of the cohorts.
Yeah. I think I think a lot of that could still be said about 128 experiments. But you're going to find, you're going to maybe find something if you meta-analyze them. So Edward Deci and two of his colleagues analyzed like 3 decades of studies on it. And this is the quote. Careful consideration of reward effects reported in 128 experiments lead to the conclusion that tangible rewards tend to have a substantially negative effect on intrinsic motivation, they determined. When institutions, families, schools, business, and athletic teams, for example, focus on the short term and opt for controlling people's behavior, they do considerable long-term damage.
Yep. It's a lot of stuff that, like, we can feel it in our experience of systems. But it's harder for people to intuit when crafting systems, because when they're crafting systems, they are viewing it as a game of designing incentives to influence player behavior. They may see it as, we want to positively reinforce this type of attitude that we want.
Yeah.
We want to positively reinforce this gameplay style. That can sometimes be an issue. Which is then really challenging. And maybe that's why sandbox things end up being so sticky. It's like, because there's far less of the, there's so many carrots. We need something better than carrot and stick.
Yeah.
So, imagine carrot is like, it's a chocolate carrot and you really want it. You can throw someone all the chocolate carrots in the world. They can enjoy them so much, get a lot of people in, and then kind of struggle to hold your people. I do wonder, though, if for a lot of, and we brought this up regarding Eve previously, but for a lot of those sandbox games, it's like they're not really using the big carrot to get you into the game. But if you happen to wander your way there because you're, intrinsically sort of interested in it, and then you keep on going because you have, you get intrinsic value, then you just keep on going. And maybe that's why some of those like smaller niche games just kind of truck on. Whereas maybe the big theme park games are just always having to fight for, like, this is the big new content, the big release, the fast patch cadence, all of the stuff to keep it going for our players.
Yeah. Not much, like. It's the kind of thing where that's almost just obvious at this point. At least, at least it feels so obvious in hindsight. We're like, obviously this is how it feels. This is clearly the answer.
Yeah.
Clearly the answer is people will, intrinsically motivate themselves to do things, and they'll enjoy games they enjoy and stay enjoying them. And that's why people want to leave games that do an incredible, powerful job of getting people in and going, you're in our hands. You'll dance for us, puppets, and give us all your money. But then they break free eventually. They're like, no, I don't want to be stuck in this Skinner box, rat me as hellhole. I want to go and do something I enjoy doing because I don't enjoy this anymore. So it's that idea of like, it feels like gamification was a massive, massive learning that a lot of these like game designer types, and especially those in the C-suite who are likely to have these principles in mind and go, yeah, do it for this buzzword, but without actually understanding fully what it is. At least it feels that way, because otherwise there's a lot of games that are, completely ignore what intrinsic motivation could be. They completely ignore it. And obviously for a very World of Warcraft thing, that, if you open that chart there for us, this is from the book Drive, where it's like, here's literally things that MMO developers and game developers can do. According to, obviously this book isn't gospel, like, obviously absolutely. It's just Daniel H. Pink just writing about what he knows relatively well. Doesn't even talk about video games once, because I assume he's an old boomer. I'm not quite sure, but
I guess the thing is, like, what this does give us is just another lens to think through a problem. And maybe we can, if that lens forces you to see a problem from a different angle, then maybe you'll see something different in that problem that you didn't previously see. Maybe you'll learn something. So it's not about taking it, as you said, as gospel. It's about seeing what a different point of view can, sort of kind of illuminate about a topic. Yeah.
So it's like, even to literally use this as an example, this is a flow chart for when to use rewards. And the top half is moving towards using actual rewards, which is, if you do this, we will give you this. And you see, you've got, is this task mostly routine? If yes, move up. Can you increase the task challenge or variety, make it less routine or connected to a larger purpose? Sure, do that. Move down to the more, the one that doesn't need rewards, the one
Yeah.
that's build a healthy community. But if it's hard to do those things, if it's hard to make it challenging, hard to add variety, or hard to make it, connected to a larger purpose, then you end up going, here's where you use rewards. Here's where it's perfectly fine to use rewards. So that's a case of if you have something that players do all the time, you need to reward them to do that behavior.
Yeah.
But if it's not that way, if it's a creative thing, if it's an enjoyable thing, if it's something they want to do, then you should actively avoid rewards, because otherwise players will stop caring about your game, stop caring about that activity. And that's something that I find, it's weird that I'm sitting here going, well, this is just some shit I found in a book. This is some scientific studies and some meta-analysis of studies that kind of shows all this stuff. Why is it not understood at a higher level? And that's what I don't understand.
I think there could be one thing.
Yeah.
So what if you are trying to learn all of these principles? But then the other company's just giving someone a bing, bing, wahoo, happy, ooh, my brains feel good. My brain chemistry, wahoo.
Yeah.
Well, then you have a thing where if everyone was playing on an equal playing field, then surely the company that does the best job of creating, a healthy long-term motivational environment is the one that will win. Well, then what happens when another company starts to have a whole bunch of rewards? I mean, do we remember what it was like moving from playing Call of Duty 2 every single day, or playing TF2 Team Fort every single day, to moving to Call of Duty 4, and suddenly there's more bing bing wahoos, and then you move to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and suddenly a quick guitar riff is played every time you move somewhere. A little ribbon pops up, and a this and a that, and the whole thing is just like engage.
Yeah.
Like I imagine if I started caring about like the battle pass of Splitgate, that's probably the fastest way for me to stop playing Splitgate, because I've purely been playing it for intrinsic at the minute. So it's just interesting to me though, because if you are Blizzard, you are World of Warcraft, and you really try to rebalance the game around learning all of these principles, and you do a great job of it. Well, what happens when Riot Games comes out with their big new MMO, and they actually go hard in doing the most advanced and rewarding set of carrots that any game developer has ever came up with? Well, what if you actually find that like this is all true, but the carrot's really alluring?
Yeah.
And the carrot is good for user capture. The feeling of reward is good for user capture. And maybe that's why Final Fantasy XIV in many ways is like a better MMO for a story anyway. I guess a better story game or whatever. Yeah. But you go to Exile's Reach, and it's like you get your rewards quick. It's smooth. It's polished.
Yeah.
It's all very obvious. It very clearly fits into your progression, and it just feels like a really good progression curve. Even though you could say, well, the heights of the story of Shadowbringers are better. I don't know. It's like, WoW's going to be more alluring there for a lot of people, just because they've got that new player flow a little bit more charted out. So I suppose, what happens, let's just say they redo Loot and Shadowlands, and it's a big success, but it still is slow along the design intent of removing, Titan Forging. And if there was another similarly competing MMO that was able to, just do the extrinsic rewards better at a faster pick, all of those things, would people just be taken over by that? Yeah, I guess maybe that's some of the reasoning. In a world where everybody is using all of the immediate attention-grabbing tools, if you're the one who sits back and decides to be a bit of a Zen monk about it and focus purely on the intrinsic value of the exercise, do you lose out because the other people are, they're fighting this war with weapons you're trying not to use?
That's one of, I think, the biggest concerns, is gamification being like, almost, how do I put this? Almost like the nuclear deterrent, where mutually assured destruction is kind of the path we're racing towards, in a sense, which I think is, I feel like it's kind of that way in terms of gamification, but I don't really know I don't know what the solution, obviously I don't know what the solution is, otherwise I would solve it and be like, hello, I've saved video games, thank you very much.
Yeah.
But it's that idea where I think one of the things that I would like to push towards is having people understand this stuff, and then they can use that to frame what they enjoy doing and what they don't enjoy doing, and kind of use that as the language to speak about, like, shit, yeah, why am I playing this?
Yeah.
Why have I logged into this game? No. I'm purely intrinsically motivated. This can take a piss. I don't care. I'm going to go and play a game that I actually enjoy. Because honestly, it's part of my fucking personal journey to play video games that I like more than games that just go bing, bing, wahoo. We have hijacked your brain. Now you're doing the things that we want you to. Which is largely the case of, like, I know I can't play a fighting game for an extreme long period of time because it's intrinsically motivated. And my brain's going, go play New World, get those numbers up, go for it. You know you want to. I'm like, no, I want to play the thing that I personally enjoy more. And I don't think it's a massive slight on an MMO for doing that in a way, because you can have that with balance. Because engaging with some rewards to engage in like an economy and stuff is pretty nice. And that's all fine. But it's just like, man, I feel like we should probably overall move towards understanding motivation better. And I know I'll certainly be using this stuff because obviously this is all like the don't reward stuff. This is shit you could use with kids where, like, I want my kid to go do something fun. The kid's annoying me. I'll reward him I'll go say, go do the thing you like, and I'll make whatever dinner you want.
You can get 30 minutes, or maybe not 30. You can get 60 minutes of Xbox if you do your chores. Instead, maybe what you want to do is work out is, can you make a little game around chores that's like intrinsically fun? Maybe not. Maybe that is a case to do a reward. But at least think about this flowchart and think about how, as much as you can you get things down low so that maybe your kid's just doing those things naturally rather than you, the parent, also having to be the kind of, master of rewards. Which maybe you don't want, because maybe your kid's going to look at you differently that way. Yeah, you're the deliverer of extrinsic rewards as opposed to parent. Oh dear, you don't want to become the Great Vault. Oh my god, that is the perfect like parenting for World of Warcraft players. Don't be the Great Vault. There you go. There you go. You've got your seminar all sorted. That's your rich man, especially with the amount of World of Warcraft players who seemingly have children. I don't know why, but it seems like that's obviously it's because it's a big community and whatnot. But that seems like such a common thing versus anything else. Yeah, I don't know why. I think an older audience than most games. Yeah, of course, that's that as well. So yeah, as well, load of boomers. Nice one. not that thing. No, it's okay. Not on the edge of 30 just yet. Getting there, but getting close. Yeah, spooky. Yeah. No, so I think that's a lot of this stuff is just learn what makes you tick as an individual, and then you'll understand yourself and be able to do things. That's it. Better. Which is kind of taking a positive view on me just going, what shit about video games, which definitely was a little bit of me starting this. we got a 4-month from Ace of Hearts who said, thanks for reminding me why I stopped playing MMOs as much, and I've been playing on a massive RimWorld binge. Throw myself out of the trap. RimWorld's one of those games you will just keep on going because it's just fucking interesting how it all goes. It really is. Yeah, that's RimWorld, all right. Yeah, well, so I think that's oh man. Yeah. So there you go. I'd say if you enjoy some of this more psychological content, decent chance we'll turn some of this into videos. Yeah. Actually get more studies, do more stuff, and try to make like the sort of 14-minute quick thesis out of it as it pertains to MMOs, so that it's like, fun and accessible. Yeah, it's certainly the case where, this was largely me riffing on some notes I took during the day, because I'm kind of, to be honest, I'm a little bit cheating, because I'm kind of like, this is stream content, but also I'm learning all this at the same time. And you know what that's done? And this is really funny to me. I didn't even catch it when I was doing it last week with the other study, but because this book is positively towards what motivates you, I caught myself halfway through, went, I'm intrinsically motivated to do this because I find it interesting, and I've been able to focus on it for like an hour at a time, no problem, and just kind of nuked it through. That's really interesting. Yeah, man's enjoying your read. Yeah, so I was just enjoying it. I've identified the part of this that's motivating, versus something like, I need to throw together stream content for the sake of stream content. I'm like, this is enjoyable. Oh, hang on, have I unlocked some fucking mad secret as to how to do things that are enjoyable and can be done efficiently and effectively and stuff like that? Yeah, well, you've done it. Yeah, solved. I've solved doing things. Oh man, yeah, no, it's fun, and it's like it's sort of fun to get get the updates.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you think overall it's probably time for us to wrap?
Yep.
Because,
boy.
well, we know why we are
Yes.
going to have a busy week next week.
Yep.
You guys don't. Haha, but you'll find out soon. Oh, we're quite busy. So, yes, we're going to be doing that. It's going to be good fun. Yeah, we have things to do, so we're going to take off. I would say we do have a video out on the WoW channel. I'll spam it into the old place. There you go. Can't miss it. Now that I've assaulted you. But yeah, basically just that video is puzzling through the future of World of Warcraft. So if you wanted to go and view something after this, that would be the one. And certainly on the WoW channel, any help we can get is appreciated. That thing's in the shitter.
Please,
Please
watch our videos. They're good.
But yeah, okay. I'm gonna go. Got some vidya to play. Got some things to write, and soon a whole bunch to record. So it's gonna be fun.
Yep. So just before we go, I will say there's a perfect example from chat. Pandoran Bias said, D2 has fallen into this trap. I played only Crucible for 9 months because I loved it, even though it gave me no reward. Now I try to play for a reward, and I can barely bring myself to play for an hour.
There you go.
You've ruined Destiny 2 for yourself by playing for rewards, but that's not your fault, because every time you log into any video game, it basically, it's a casino that lights up rewards in your face. And that's why you're not going to like it. Oh, shit. Also, one thing. Yes. One of our FC members and guild member and friend, Matt, is getting married in FF today. So that's 10 o'clock. I'm able to make that. I need to get an outfit for that. Fuck. Oh, it's like real life. I don't want to go. Can I stay home and play video games instead? I can't even get blocked at this wedding. What point? What's the point? Oh, I could. I'm at home. Shit.
Yeah. No, you could. Your character can, but you can.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. But yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. So Matt's got a wedding to go to, and yeah, that's not the way to link the thing. Anyway, want to do a thing? There's a video. Oh, videos. Woo, videos. Right. Okay. Let's go and get ready for the launch that we're doing next week on something where you can see it. Maybe what? I don't know. Piece it together. There'll be shit for you to watch. It'll be fun. We're going to do things. Oh boy, Matt, we're going to have a busy weekend. Wahoo!
Absolutely.
All right. Cool. There's a wedding going on at FF. That's just pretty cool. Anyway, right. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. Yeah, check that video out, and we will see you next time.